tell him with his hands?
Like he's hitting him.
What is your opinion as to who was on top?
I believe it was Zimmerman, comparing the size of their body.
Witness testimony heard today in court as day 3 of the George Zimmerman trial continues. Jurors heard from several witnesses who heard the scuffle the night of Trayvon Martin's death. Got our legal panel.
Yeah, our legal team, John Phillips, Richard Kuritz, back again to break it all down. And John, I want to start by asking you about the last person who was said to have talked on the phone to Trayvon Martin the night that this incident happened. And it was interesting testimony that she gave today. What do you make of her testimony?
I don't know what to make. You know, you generally, when you're doing cross-examination, you want to do it with a scalpel. And Don West was kind of hitting her with a hacksaw, and she was bleeding from her mouth all over the place and was very belligerent. You know, said some pretty sensational testimony about some of Trayvon's last words. You know, the state hasn't made this a race case. You know, it is a race case from Zimmerman's side. They've kept Trayvon out of that fray, and he dropped the word cracker and he dropped the N-word, referring to, you know, Zimmerman. Yeah. It's going to change things with 5 white women jurors.
Yeah, no, I have to say I was a little bit surprised by that, because the way it's been portrayed is that Zimmerman was the one who was a racist. He's the one that had the problems and he had the issues, while he clearly was hacksawing versus scalpeling. The defense actually scored a lot of points. I mean, because in reality, what it comes across as, the person who might have had a race issue, I know it's not very popular to say, it might have been actually Trayvon Martin. He's the one that's actually using the N-word. He's the one that's using derogatory statements.
And there are these moments, in case you missed it, this person, young girl, who says she was the last person to speak to Trayvon Martin. There was confusion about whether she was a girlfriend before trial. It was girlfriend, now just a very close friend. Apparently, a key witness. I know they're all important, but this is one that I know the state was kind of saying this is going to be our key witness. Defense comes back, as we're saying, the hacksaw, downright, I mean, she came across, and I'll say it because I watched it, she came across downright silly looking in some places. She did, and you know, she had tweeted earlier about getting her courtroom nails done. Now again, this is a 21-year-old high school student, okay? This isn't somebody with an IQ of 150, and so you've got to take that into account. You know, witnesses are all over the place, and she's a girl that probably hasn't grown up with many attorneys and professionals in her life and didn't know how to handle it.
Well, how credible do you think the jurors will consider her? She admitted to lying 2 times. One, about her age. She apparently told Trayvon Martin's mother that she was 16 when in fact she was 18 at the time. And then she also said that she didn't attend his funeral. She had an excuse. She was in the hospital, but in reality she said she just didn't want to see his body.
You know, from both of those perspectives, lying to somebody's mom about your age happens to all of us. You know, as for the funeral, I think that could happen to all of us too. You know, if her testimony was that she didn't want to see Trayvon's body, and so she made an excuse up that she was ill from this PTSD, this traumatic situation. So I don't think that's going to get her as much as the craziness.
Yeah. Sure. No, I clearly think that if this is the state's star witness, I think clearly the defense was able to score points in the state's case today. I think the defense came out ahead.
Okay, we have asked our viewers to write in questions on our Facebook page, and we want to go to one of them. Cindy Pagetti wrote in on our Facebook page, how simple or difficult is it for both sides to make their case? If we can scroll down so we can see that. I have been watching every day, and so far everything seems circumstantial.
Well, clearly it's circumstantial. I mean, because what we know is that nobody was able to say, I saw exactly what happened. Right. So we're all just talking about the circumstantial evidence that surrounds it. And we're talking about this little clip of this little clip of that, and let's try to put all the circumstances together to see if we can find it. But the problem with circumstantial evidence in Florida is if there's a reasonable hypothesis of innocence that contradicts the circumstantial evidence, then you got to find them not guilty.
Exactly, and dare I say it, this isn't like Jordan Davis where you had people in the gas station, you had other people in the other vehicles. This was a stand your ground case, which is pretty typical, where you had 2 people, one of them can't speak anymore because he's dead. And so you're going to have to strap it together with things people heard and saw secondhand largely.
I know we've been told to wrap it up. I know we've got to go to weather, but I quickly got to ask, because we haven't done this yet throughout the process. So far, if trial ends today, guilty, not guilty, what kind of verdict are we facing quickly as before we
Sure. If you'd asked me yesterday, I'd have thought of it as a guilty verdict because of the way Mr. Guy captivated the audience. But however, today, based on what I've seen so far from their star witness, I'd say not guilty.
What about you, John?
Too soon. Right now, I think we're headed in that manslaughter category so far. The Trayvon pictures yesterday were gory and bad and pulled tears out of my eyes. Right. But we're getting there.
Okay. Guys, thank you so much. We'll continue to talk with you throughout the whole process. Let's go to Tim now.